Time now for this week's Goofy, but let's start with a shout-out once again to Alberta Premier Rachel Notley's appointee to the Oil Sands Advisory Panel, Sabora Berman, who endorses BC NDP leader John Horgan's stance to, in his own words, use every tool in our toolbox to stop the twinning of the Kinder Morgan pipeline. Despite the very negative economic consequences for Alberta at a time when the province is already posting $10 billion deficits. I mean, you have to wonder what someone who's an appointee of Premier Notley have to do to be removed. I mean, working against Alberta's interests, and she's an Alberta appointee. But given this is a repeat performance from Ms. Berman last time in Toronto, it's not my Goofy this week. Another honorable mention goes to a former winner, Saint Barack Obama, who this week put out a video on the French election telling voters who to vote for. Of course, his choice is the status quo favorite, Emmanuel Macron. This rivals anything that Donald Trump has done in terms of an inflated sense of his own self-importance. Former President Obama, who now, thanks to term limits in the States, doesn't have to borrow his own words, heal the planet. Well, that's lucky, because now he has time to tell French voters who to vote for. Sure, and while he's at it, he could tell them what adjustments they should make to preparing soufflés. I mean, do you really think the French want to hear from an American, even a former president, who to vote for? Well, obviously, President Obama thinks they do. Now, that's an inflated sense of self that would make Donald Trump feel like he's looking in a mirror. But no, this week's Goofy, I'm going head on right to the Canadian Senate. Ah, yeah, the Canadian Senate. The $103,874,365 upper unelected body, resting place for 105 politically connected Canadians. It's like winning the lottery, actually, to become a senator. You get $147,700 for life, and it's increased every year. They share an expense account that's going to be something like $5,149,000 for meal. We'll get more for travel, hospitality, professional services. Maybe professional services like Mike Duffy's fitness trainer. Not enough? Well, no, it isn't. How about $4,485,174 on their medical and dental benefits that cover everything? Oh, you would dream to have this. You'll have to forgive me because I've been forking over a fair chunk of change recently for dental work. So I'm extra happy to be paying for theirs. That brings me to this week's Goofy, the sad, many would say obscene case of 52-year-old Senator Don Meredith, who had an affair with a child, but says he didn't have sex with her until she turned 18. He's under investigation for sexual harassment, bullying of former staff members. Many have come forward with complaint. You know, one staff member said that Meredith told she would be hunted down if he ever talked about it. But here's the goofy part. The Senate Ethics Committee has recommended expelling Meredith from the Senate. But constitutional scholars waiting in say they may not have the power. They've never expelled a member in the past. They've suspended him. But they can't. According to University of Waterloo's constitutional expert Emmett McFarlane says, in quotes, the Constitution sets out tenure and a list of disqualifying factors for senators. Ethical breaches are not included. Doesn't that just say it all? Ethical breaches, not cause for expulsion to the Canadian Senate. The moral of the story? Lock up your daughters.